Content for Devs. The world beyond programming.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Content for Devs. I'm Fede, and this is Seb. How are you, Seb?
Hi, and welcome to the third episode of our podcast. It was busy. I tried to figure out how to edit well our podcast episodes, adding some nice intro in front of it, and listened both of recordings to learn how to improve on what we say, how we express our thoughts and things like that. So it was busy behind the usual work that I do. It was additional effort, but I'm super happy of how things are going.
Yeah, I think it's going very well. I really like the way the podcast is working so far. I haven't listened to the episodes yet, but yeah, I'm very happy about it.
And on your side, it seems you are finally starting with your new screencasting, right?
Yeah, I'm currently starting just with articles, or they are episodes. I won't start recording until January because I won't have time. I'm going away from home for a while now. But yeah, I launched the site. I set up on Wednesday to launch before the podcast, so I could announce it. And yeah, we finally launched it. We are at nbcasts.com. So yeah, I'm very, very, very happy. It's been a dream of mine for a while now, and yeah, it's finally happening. I'm launching 2 episodes, but I have 3 almost done, and 1 in the works. So yeah, very busy week.
And to avoid confusion, because N and M is kind of similar. So NB stands for New Best Screencast.
Yes, of course.
So nbcasts.com. Feel free to subscribe. It will be awesome very soon.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope everyone liked. So,
and you are
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, before we start, just let's place another product in our show. This will be product placement. You are using Bridgetown under the hood. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wrote the entire thing using Bridgetown, which is a very, very nice library to use. I'm considering making my first course in the site about Bridgetown because it's very interesting to work on. I might do a couple of short episodes just showing very quickly how it works. But yeah, I'm considering making the first course about Bridgetown because it's a very fun library to use.
And I totally agree. And if you are a Ruby developer, totally check it out. I personally consider rewriting Hanabi Master to Bridgetown, and I'm not even considering it, but I just need to plan it out properly. So definitely this is...
You can wait until I release my episode or my course, and you can use myself as the guide.
Yeah, okay, for sure.
Yeah. So what's our topic for today?
Today we are wanting to talk about writing our episodes, or maybe preparing the text versions of our episodes or articles, right? This will be the focus because in the way how we record our screencast is that we prepare the complete scripts for the recordings beforehand. And there are quite nice ways to do so. We are taking different approaches. And also for content for devs, which is live streaming, and we're preparing audio first. Then we prepare the text version of the episodes as well, but in the completely different manner.
Yeah.
So what are your approaches to write articles efficiently? Because when we will think about it, writing a transcript for the recording is almost like writing an article, right? But what are your approaches, hacks, and how do you do it?
Well, it all starts with an idea, a topic idea. And usually the first thing I try to come up with is an example. Something I learned from working at Ruby Tapas is you start with a problem. So if you want to show, I don't know, let's see, you want to talk about the money jam. First, you come up with a problem it solves. So you have some engagement. So I try to come out with an example, with a problem to solve. Then I write my solution. And I usually write my solution right into the script. I write a very big block of code with the entire solution or a couple of blocks code with a couple of steps. And from there, I go backwards, splitting it apart. And then I start putting the text into place. So I design the code first, and then I start putting the text in.
But do you decide the code inside of the article? So do you validate it in the live application during writing the article?
So if it's normally for articles, I don't use applications. I don't use big applications because I tend to write about very narrow things. If I had to write an application for the episode, I normally write the application, have it on a separate directory, and then I start pulling out code from there and putting it on the script. I tend to like having everything in one place. Having the entire code that I'm talking about in one place, which is the script file. And then the script file starts mutating from there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like my brain assimilates better the information there, and I switch it up and modify it as they like.
And what do you use to write the articles? I mean, the software?
Yeah, I'm a Emacs user, so I really like working on org mode. And org mode is written ORG mode, which is a markup language similar to Markdown, but it's much more powerful. And something that it allows me to do is if I put the cursor inside a code block, I can hit in a key combination, opens a new buffer with the entire code. So it automatically puts me into a buffer with this just Ruby, and I can modify it there. And with a second or the same key combination, it goes back to the script with the new code I changed, I modified. So that's why I can move through the script, writing code and prose, and just jump into the code and modify it and execute it inside of my Emacs file,
mm-hmm.
which is very nice.
But do you have any trust to yourself that you write in the plain text a Ruby code and you are sure that it works?
I'm continuously testing it because, I would like to show it here, but it won't work on the audio. But I use Seeing is Believing, which is a gem that allows you to put markers in the code file. So you write a comment. So if I say a hash rocket, pound sign, and then a hash rocket. And then with a key combination, it executes the code on that. So it executes all the code, and the code that's on that line gets written into the file. The output gets written into the file. So I'm continuously testing what I'm showing on the screen.
Awesome.
I think I need to do an episode on that because it's very interesting process to.
Yeah, definitely you should.
It's the way I show things on the screencast,
mm-hmm.
right? So usually write something. I'm not sure if I did that on the Hanami Mastery screencast. I don't remember if I did it there.
For Hanami or Rails related screencasts, will this still work if you need a whole Hanami application or Rails application to be booted?
No.
The browser?
Well, it could work. You could make it work. I wrote a book using this method. And for that, what I did is I wrote a library based on the HTTP gem that allowed me to show results from HTTP requests in a very pretty way, quote unquote. I make quotes here. So you say, for example, get, and you put the path, and then you get the actual response hash. I was doing just or mostly JSON responses because it was prettier to go. So I had my broad application working on port 9292, and I could just say, okay, get slash hello, and it will see the return value right there in the next line. So it can work. If you're doing anything more advanced than that, for example, working with tiles or a lot of HTML text, the better way to go is show the code in the editor and then go to the browser to show it. Mm-hmm. That's a no-brainer, I think. But for small things like I like to show, it's very useful and it's very quick. You don't have to jump to a terminal and come back, have all the results right there. And the code and the output produced are very near each other. So it's visually very coherent.
Awesome. That is completely different thing, a different way of writing. And so you are working with Markdown files. You are working with Emacs.
Yeah, no Markdown. I'm using Emacs or mode.
Okay.
Always. That's the first thing I inserted into Bridgestone because I wanted to build that.
Okay, awesome. So that's nice. That's nice. Do you have anything else you would like to share?
No, I would like to know your approach.
So I have a completely different style of doing things, especially because I mostly work with complete Hanami applications or RISE applications. And I'm trying to focus on some gems, but usually, and not always, but usually to properly present the stuff I want to show, I need the complete framework to be set up. And during writing the screencast, I also jump into the browser and verify that the output is correct and so on. So in the past, when I worked on writing articles, I did all that, like all content creation, all script writing within Obsidian application. And this is Markdown based note-taking system. So all the files were done in Markdown. And I just symlinked I host all my articles, all my content in the GitHub repository. So I just symlinked the folder that contains my articles and pulled into my second brain kind of system where I have all my other resources, other documentations that I need, all my other thoughts and research and the articles that I highlighted within. So it was easy for me to mix things and it was very quick to find ideas and pull something together. But at the end, it was just me working with local files. And to work with code, I just set up a complete scaffold applications. I have a separate repository that contains all the code for my episodes. So when I needed already prepared application with some persistence, for example, or some already created records, I just copied the folder from the previous episodes I wrote and it works from there. So I'm kind of working live and I just copy the snippets of the actual working applications to my article content. So this is a completely different approach. But once I started delegating some stuff and making use of other people's manpower, the working with local files had not been enough anymore. I needed to have some kind of way of easily share the content with other people. And this is why I switched a little bit to Notion. My content I still write in Obsidian and in the Markdown file, but then I copy this to Notion so that the rest of the team have the access to the script. So there is a lot of manual work included now that I'm looking for ways to optimize in the future because I don't like updating the shot marks for lector or video editor manually. Those are definitely the pain points right now. And I'm looking for ways to improve on this.
Yeah, maybe a good way for that. My process for updating shots and things like that is writing in the editor.
Yeah, but then I need to learn Emacs and this is not the best for me.
I thought about when I wrote the shot populator script, I did it in Emacs, but my first thought was to do it in Ruby because writing Ruby is much easier than writing Emacs list. So I think, well, yeah, you are using the Obsidian. So I'm not sure if you work with snippets, you can have snippets there because when you are writing the script, the only thing you actually need while you're writing is to insert the shot marker, right?
Mhm.
Populating the shot numbers can be done right after you finish. Can be done just once at the end. And that can be easily done with a Ruby script that just
Okay.
goes through the file. I think using scan or something like that, you can just replace the shot markers with the number. And
Mhm.
that's all I do with Emacs.
Awesome. And definitely this is a way to do. And yes, in Obsidian, you can have templates, you can have like snippets of any kind of text. It's also dynamic that can be done. You can write JavaScript functions within the template that dynamically inserts values to the content.
Yeah. So it should be easier than doing it.
Yeah, definitely it's way less effort than learning just to write few articles per week. But what I definitely like in working with Obsidian is just my markdown files are saved on my local machine, so I can commit them very quickly to the Hanami Mastery repository and just do not repeat the work too much. But still, I need to figure out the best and most effective ways to share the script with the lector. And also, I have found that there are some differences in terms of writing a script, a video script, and then writing the final article, the text version that is going to be published. So, for example, some Ruby code examples that are supposed to be read by lector will be a little bit differently formatted, so it's easier to read it. And for things like shot marks, those should be removed for sure. But also sometimes just over time, you want to redo some parts of your article to be easier to read, because there are differences when you talk and when you read and things like that. So this is another thing to improve on. But for now, I'm just commit first the transcript to be read, and then I take this transcript and update it to the text version when it's ready.
How do you write, for example, something longer, something that has either a course or a series of episodes or something that involves a lot of content?
My RISE API course, I wrote completely in Notion. I have the workspace set up in the way that it automatically tracks the progress of multiple modules, multiple lessons. I will also be able to show it to you afterwards if you want, because I have it still set up. But currently, I'm writing everything in Obsidian. This is so good that I'm writing everything there, because even if I want to access it later in any other editor, like code editor, Visual Studio Coder, for example, to do anything, I can still do it. I can access it on my server with on mobile or via the Vim access, right? And this is Markdown. This is just no encoding, so it just works with everything that you can read it. But I have part of the content that is published, and this is committed to the repository. But also I have other folders where there is just all the draft work, ongoing work. And Obsidian is great because it allows you to link all the documents together without any kind of overhead. You can have a local graph of all the nodes, all the files that are connected to your current file that you're working on. So it's super easy to work with chapters or modules in terms of course making. So at the end, I work the same way for all kind of content writing at the moment.
My question was going more towards, how do you design the content? You start with the outline? Do you start with just writing and seeing how it goes?
No, definitely I start with the outline. I start with the outline most of the time. Sometimes I just write, but having an outline is definitely helpful. Once I start writing, the outline is usually going to be so.
That was my next question.
No, I recently, maybe in recent years, I accepted that nothing is written in stone, and I just update everything as I feel it's going to be better, to be improved. So even if I have some modules set up or even some content published, like for example, Udemy content, Udemy modules, I just extend or replace the modules because I feel that it will be beneficial for the users.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. Yeah, I also start with a rough idea of the outline, and I end up changing it very quickly because I start with big ideas and then I fill them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually end up switching the order of the outline to be more coherent or to be more a different flow, something like that. In terms of actually writing the course, I have the same process as writing the episodes. In fact, I tend to write very short lessons similar to the episodes I write because I like the idea of one idea per episode, and then I group everything together. I still write it in org mode. Usually I have a directory for the course and then one directory per chapter or per lesson or whatever I call it. Inside of that directory, I have the main file, which is the script, and then all related files, maybe the code sometimes, write it along them. Last time I wrote course, I ended up publishing it using Thinkific, which is a platform for writing courses and things like that. Today, I will write it entirely in Bridgestone.
Well, I'm also considering this because at the moment I have Hanami Master Pro listed on Podia. This is hosted on Podia, but I really struggle with their editor. And this is usually a thing. When you want to write in the platform, like course platform, and it doesn't matter if this is Udemy or Podia or whatever, the experience is so much worse than anything else that you can do locally. So for me, it would be best if I could just write Markdown, paste it to the code editor once it's ready and save, and I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, writing in the code editors they have, it's the pain usually. I tend to write in org mode and export to HTML and then use the HTML directly on the because that's the easiest way for me to do it.
But also what I experience issues with is when I work on local files, I just paste images. I just make a screenshot and it's pasted to the Obsidian with the correct link, like the file is saved on my local machine in the correct folder, and I don't need to care anymore. Just I'm going down. But then when I need to copy this to Notion or to the external platform like Podia, then I experience the problem because my link is not, my image is not uploaded. So I upload them and replace links and things like that. And all that is kind of troublesome at the moment. And those are the reasons why I'm considering writing a Hanami application to help me with that. So when I publish something or when I have those actions, it can be just solve for me all those manual caveats that I hate doing every week.
Yeah. And I started with that and it's awesome to have. I haven't figured out the images yet. So for my first 2 episodes, I ended up having to insert images and I was having problem because Bridgestone has a directory for images where you put them there and then you can link them. But I don't like having all the images in one place. I like either having them inside my episode folder or what I ended up doing, having it somewhere else. So what I did is create a Cloudinary account just for the Screencast series. And I have a couple of buckets of images there because I didn't want to have all my images in the same place, making noise in that directory.
But can't you make subfolders?
I can make subfolders, but the way I ended up setting things up didn't allow me to use those images.
Oh, that's bad. So for example, in Hanami Master, I have a public folder when you have all the assets stored that are precompiled later.
Yeah.
And for images, I have the episodes folder. And for each episode, I have the number, the ID. So
yeah, I could have done that as well. But on the other hand, having them on Cloudinary is not as much of a problem. It's more or less the same amount of work. as putting them in a separate directory and then linking them from my file, an external directory basically. It's the same as using the URL that Culinary gives me, and Culinary makes the best images I know they can. So in terms of trade-offs, I really like having them in an external resource like that. In fact, I might put the logo and things like that of Culinary as well. And I'm not very heavy on images on my application. So
I would not use images if it was not proved that articles with images perform better for SEO, and also that articles with images are more likely to be read in whole, and that there is a higher engagement for those.
If you go to my site, I'm not using the images I don't have cover images, but that's just a design decision. My design I wrote it from scratch, and I decided to write as less code as I can to launch quick. So at some point I might use images. I'm not sure yet.
So
we'll see.
We covered almost everything, but then there is another type of articles that we are making right now. Since we started this podcast, we also plan to release rich show notes for the episode and also the text versions of the episodes that we will publish under our domain. And this will take completely different approach because we are streaming, right? We are streaming first. We are figuring out what to say live, and then we compress the audio. We edit out some parts and publish as a complete podcast episode. So what are the ways that you know of making article out of it?
Well, the transcript, I know it's the best way to do a transcript right now automatically and then edit it, because transcribing an entire episode would take a while. But in terms of outlining an episode, the way we've been doing it and the way I think about it is just start by putting the big ideas and then just adding more and more ideas in between. Or sub ideas. I don't know how to say it. And then during the episode, we just read the titles, improvise them, right? As much as we can.
Yeah.
I don't really know any other way. It's my first podcast and I actually haven't thought about it until today. So what about you?
Well, I did. There are several ways that hit me in the back of my head. I was not aware of those possibilities in the past, but it appears that even Google Hangout allows you to record a meeting and automatically prepare transcript of the meeting that you are participating into. So this is crazy. And this was mind blowing for me. Similar thing happened on YouTube. If you stream to YouTube and you have like a live stream, then below the stream, if you want to follow what is happening, you can open the transcript. And as the video progresses, the different parts of the transcript are highlighted. You always know at which part of the transcript you are in at the moment. And those are really useful stuff.
And it works the same with comments, the same on Twitch. If you watch a past live stream, you can see the real-time comments.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very interesting.
I have been looking for ways to do it with files, and there is software called Descript.com. And I wish they will sponsor our episodes at some point. And I checked it out, and you can upload a video. You can add a video to the project, and you can take this video and it automatically prepares transcript for you. You can take this transcript and edit it. If you will remove part of the sentence, the software will remove this part from the video automatically. But you can also reword some stuff, and they will use some kind of like AI voice recognition to replace this on the video itself.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
So this is awesome. And you can export it as a Google Word, a Google document, Word, Markdown files even, or a lot of other formats are supported. So this blew me away. So definitely this will be the way that we are going to prepare our transcripts from the videos in the future. And I hope I will be able to just use it and import it to my Obsidian and process from there, because it is just awesome.
Yeah, I'm speechless. So please write something that I'm saying right now, because I don't know what to say. It's incredible. Technology went too far right now.
Yeah, you just cannot keep up. Even in terms of Ruby, you just cannot keep up with anything.
Yeah.
And this is awesome. This is awesome, but it's also scary.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all. Do you have any further topics you would like to cover today?
No, I think there are other types of media that we could talk about, but it would make for a very, very long episode. So
I also don't have too much experience in, for example, efficiently write newsletters. And for those, I definitely will want to invite some guests and just make use of their expertise and hack tips. So the question for users, if you have any great ways to write articles efficiently, please let us know in the comments, and we will happily improve on our processes as well.
yes, of course.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and see you in the next episode.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you around.
Bye.
Bye.